This is horrifying. Those are the screams of a 3-year-old boy in the hands of a dentist accused of intentionally inflicting pain and torturing children to satisfy deviant, sadistic appetites. All this revealed in court documents.
I can't personally imagine a situation where there would be a worse dentist in America.
Many of his little patients would have to agree.
He hurted me, and I was yelling for my mom, but he wouldn't let my mom and my dad in, and that he choked me.
Thomas, you say the dentist punched you?
Yeah. He threw me, they choked me, and they sat on me.
These are 3 of the dozens of children attorney John Phillips initially represented.
When you put 81 children side by side and you measure the level of consistency, it's off the charts.
This is the dentist they are all complaining about, Dr. Howard Schneider of Jacksonville, Florida. Some of Dr. Schneider's harshest critics say he ran a little shop of horrors that disfigured children and robbed them of their smiles. The pediatric dentist has been threatened with legal action by more than 100 families represented by 2 different law firms, one alleging professional malpractice, the other accusing him of a number of terrible things, including battery, false imprisonment, and intentional abuse.
The more procedures, the more billings.
In one suit, Schneider's practice was called a house of horrors.
Bilking the taxpayer, one baby tooth at a time.
Though Schneider's attorney is fighting back, saying the lawsuits are only meant to embarrass and harass his client.
Kids would go in for caps, and 2 months later they'd have those same teeth that were capped extracted.
Schneider's lawyer maintains the procedures were medically necessary, yet Phillips showed me bag after bag filled with children's teeth, which he says didn't need any work. Healthy baby teeth that should have just fallen out naturally.
I do believe it was very unnecessary that he capped all 14 teeth.
Shireen Christopher's son, Zion, is the one you heard screaming in the video.
My son was screaming about 10 minutes.
Poor little Zion went in for just 1 cap on a decaying tooth and came out with a mouth full of metal.
I started videotaping because I felt something was wrong with the procedure.
As horrifying as it is to listen to Zion screaming, imagine if you could not hear your child screaming for help. Amanda Barry and Nicholas Balzer are deaf, and they had no idea that their son Dominic was screaming in the dentist chair. They couldn't come in the room.
No.
And you would have wanted your mommy and your daddy there.
Yeah, I was screaming for my mom.
With the help of a sign language interpreter, the parents told me their horror story. Dominic went in to have 1 tooth extracted. They say Schneider pulled Dominic's front teeth instead.
And when I pulled the gauze out of his mouth, his front teeth were missing.
He pulled my teeth out and he choked me. My face was red. Classy.
This is 11-year-old Thomas Denise and his service dog Crosby. Thomas has autism and epilepsy, yet Dr. Schneider didn't allow his mother or his service dog to be by his side in the exam room. So you're all by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Susan Denise says Thomas was severely traumatized by being restrained in something called a papoose board.
He punched me on the shoulder and I didn't like it.
Papoose boards are used in pediatric dentistry in certain cases, but dentists must get the parents' permission.
There's been a series of complaints about Dr. Schneider, but they never went anywhere.
Well, that all changed when one mother got mad and went on a rant on Facebook.
He messed with the wrong baby, that's what he did.
What got Brandy Motley so upset was this. These are photos of her daughter Brielle right after an appointment with Dr. Schneider.
That's when I seen Brielle on the papoose board hyperventilating and blood everywhere.
Dr. Schneider pulled 8 baby teeth, even though Brielle's mom claims she didn't have 1 cavity. 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom?
All of her front teeth and all of the bottom front teeth were gone. All she had was jaw teeth.
So Brandy took to Facebook and let it all out.
And I posted her pictures along with what happened that day.
Brandy's Facebook page about Dr. Schneider, which at the time grew to more than 14,000 supporters, brought other parents out of the shadows.
And then I realized that Thomas was not the only child. I was like, holy crud, what's going on with this guy?
Finally.
Yes.
Years later, but finally.
Finally, indeed, after weeks of protests, Dr. Schneider gave up. He voluntarily relinquished his license to practice and shut down his office.
The Attorney General's office called my home.
Dr. Schneider was arrested and charged with 11 counts of Medicaid fraud for performing procedures without parental consent and submitting unauthorized claims for Medicaid reimbursement. He was also charged with 1 count of scheming to defraud.
The handcuffs made me smile. Yes, ma'am.
Schneider was booked and released on a $110,000 bond.
When Dr. Schneider got arrested, it made me so happy.
Dr. Schneider denies the allegations and would not talk to us. His attorney sent us this statement reading in part. My client and I respectfully decline your offered opportunity to participate in a process which has heretofore been anything but fair and balanced. Not long after we spoke with the families, many of them reached a settlement agreement with Dr. Schneider, the terms of which are confidential. But just as the angry parents thought that he would finally get his day in criminal court, 2 physicians testify that Dr. Schneider suffers from dementia, and the judge makes a bombshell decision. The dentist is incompetent to stand trial. All charges dropped.